Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm privileged to welcome a very, very senior and accomplished tech leader from India, Farzana Haque. Farzana, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ashutosh.
Farzana is a powerhouse of technology, energy, experience, and has a great network globally. She's an angel investor and mentor to many growing and established entrepreneurs. She serves and contributes on several boards. She is first a humanitarian at heart and tops it off with her illustrious global career. Farzana is part of the senior leadership team at TCS, Tata Consulting Services. She joined the Tata Group as a management trainee and has risen through the ranks. She has been transformational and had institutional building roles to her credit. She is a mother of two boys and over the last 2 decades been most passionate about building from India for the world, building global companies from India and strengthening India's entrepreneurial ecosystem. So Farzana, let's start with your role as a tech leader. And you have many avatars, but let's first start with your role as a tech leader. So tell me about the challenges you had to overcome as a woman leader in a largely male-dominated tech industry.
Thank you for having me, Ashutosh. But I must start by saying I am so impressed by what you are doing. I am so impressed with the platform called The Brand Called You that you have created, Ashutosh, because, when I started working almost 2 decades back, I wish I had a platform like this to hear. I wish I had stories to learn from. The more you hear, the more you read, the more when I heard some of the podcasts and interviews you have on your platform, and they're so inspiring, even if you don't know those people or irrespective of which industry they come from. I think that is needed from a human spirit perspective, right? To just know that there are all kinds of people, there are all kinds of people who have made it despite the failures, right? I think that's why I'm very happy to be here.
Well, and your story is going to be equally inspiring.
I hope so. I hope you have lots of young people also joining and saying, we want more such stories.
Absolutely.
So coming as a tech leader, I started work in the June of 1999. India was still known as the factory which did very good Y2K, right? Then I tell my boys that I started working in a generation or an era before Google. They give me that completely relic look, like really? How did you even learn? So one of my sons, Eden, tells me, there was no Alexa, there was no Siri. How did you drive? There's no Google Map. So yes, those are the days I started my career with.
So I must pause you for 1 second. Then I am probably you will ask me the similar question, because I started working 20 years before you, and there were no computers.
How did you communicate with each other? Yeah. So I think every day now, in your time, at least there was a generation, there was a gap. Now it's like technology is upending everything. It's the way we work, the way we learn. I can't think of us doing this kind of a session a year back, right? It would have been in person. We didn't know about Zoom till COVID happened.
Absolutely right.
So yes, technology has been at the front end and vanguard of human life, right? Transformation. So I joined the Tatas right out of school. I was the intern, right, who joined and I went on to do projects and lots of technology implementation around the globe with projects. So, when I started off, and as I said, we were known for a certain type of work, right? And here you are walking through the corridors of power in the West, a very largely white male. There's a certain profile of
I'm with you.
Global Inc. that was there in 99 and 2000, right?
Okay.
And to have and consulting. So we were known for project implementation, right? And when I joined, we had started something called the e-business group within, which was doing packaged implementation of all ERP products, right?
Farzana, you were telling me about when you joined TCS and were walking in the corridors of power.
It was the workforce at that time and the leadership of that time was very, very a certain type, right?
Mhm.
All white, all male, um, and they had a certain set of thought process and the way they would function. And here you are, a person from a developing nation who is consulting, right? So they don't associate your brand and where you come from for doing this kind of work, right?
Mhm.
And then you are telling them, or you are evangelizing the concept of how you as a company can do things differently for
Mhm.
them, how you will use technology to do an enterprise-wide application implementation. This was again done by a certain group of consulting companies from America for the American companies, right?
Mhm.
And we were always the people who were at back end. We were doing it at the back somewhere. They didn't know us. So
Mhm.
when you first to even get a ticket to get to the corridors of power and to be able to stand in front of them and talk, right? And to try and convince them of your companies, your organization. And in our case, in 99 and 2000, even from the country, right? You come from, you're not even associated.
Correct.
22 years later or 21 years later, when you think about it, it seems like an amazing ride of a lifetime, Ashutosh. But at that time, I think the overriding um, emotion was that of fear, was that of letting people down, was of
Mhm.
like, am I doing it right? Am I even supposed to be here?
Mhm.
Will I be able to do a good job? I've said this in lots of interviews, but it's important I say this here also. It was December of 2000. I go in for a Siebel implementation in a city called Erie in Pennsylvania for a Fortune 10 company. And I remember calling up my parents and saying, I'm very scared, I'm very nervous. Um, I don't know if I'm cut out for this kind of a job because I don't know if I'll do it right.
Mhm.
I remember my parents telling me those are those 1-800 days of
Mhm.
calling card and calling, quickly talking was very expensive to talk.
Correct.
I remember my parents telling me together in the same voice, you're representing your country.
Oh,
You are not an individual. You're not a girl from a family or a city or a company. You're representing India.
correct.
Very few people from India have done this. Uh, this is God's way of giving you an opportunity to do something for your country.
Amazing. What great advice. What great
So
advice.
don't let anything else
Mhm.
get you off track. Just
Mhm.
focus, apply, and we know you will make it happen.
Mhm.
And I think that gave me the confidence, Ashutosh, to never um, doubt myself. I think that was the first important thing, that you have to have parents who believe in you, because when you join as an intern, when you're starting your career, that kind of strength is very needed. Then I am very, very blessed to be to just get mentors from across spectrum of life, right?
Mhm.
Not only from where I work, the organization I worked with, but and work with, but also people from different parts of life.
Mhm.
Ruth, very famous Supreme Court
Mhm.
woman lawyer, New York. I happened to just meet her. I was in a meeting in New York. She happened to be there. I just went to meet her. I didn't know, she didn't know me. She doesn't know me at all.
Mhm.
I was this 22-year-old who goes there. And, I, again, I'm 22, I'm working, and I'm like, I'll give you a card and you tell who you are, what you do. And I said, you're my inspiration. And she looks at me and she says, 20 years later, you will be someone's inspiration. So I'm like, why do you say that? She said, very few people have the guts of actually to do a cold call onto me and say, I want to meet you because I've read so much about you. You're phenomenal. The fact that you took that first step, that initiative to reach out,
Mhm.
makes you a star in my eyes.
Amazing.
And I asked her, what is the one thing that I should always remember?
Oh,
And she says, you will have more failures than success.
mhm.
You will have more people telling you can't do it than people who will support you.
Mhm.
Uh, just tune them out, personally and professionally.
Mhm.
Just tune them out. That's another. That's another. So I have, and over the years. So when we lost her couple of years back, it was very deeply personally tough for me. It was like losing a grandmother, honestly. Um, because over the years, here is this very renowned, accomplished Jewish lady, right? Believing in an absolute nobody.
Correct.
22-year-old who, just walked in, and because she walked in.
Hmm.
So I think I have been very blessed by meeting a lot of people who have personally taken, who have vested interest in my success. Who,
Fantastic.
when I succeed, are feeling very happy, and you can sense it.
Hmm.
They have no filial relationship with me. They're not part of my bloodline, but who have just cheered me on every time I failed.
Fantastic.
So I think as a technology leader, this kind of support from people you know and do not know, and over the years, when I did, as I said, the first 10 years, the first decade of my career was very tough, because that's a time we were trying as a nation to create a mark in the world, saying we are more than just IT services. As a young greenhorn out of college who's trying to work hard and prove to yourself, it's tough, because you're dealing with those emotions yourself. That, am I supposed to be here? Will I deliver? Am I contributing enough? I think the first decade for every career, whether you're a young man or a young woman, goes through a lot of intense introspection, and that's fine. As long as you're learning, as long as you're contributing, as long as you're surrounded by people who believe in you, you're fine.
Wonderful.
First 10 years are tough.
Wonderful. So I now want to move on to the next question. And, you have one avatar as a professional leader, but you also are a mentor to a lot of startups. So my question to you is, why do you think entrepreneurship is important? And what kind of work are you doing in this space?
For a nation like ours, a young nation like ours, we are 75-year-old. For a young nation like ours, for our democracy to survive, for our democracy to be vibrant and performing and thriving, it's very important, Ashutosh, that every Indian is economically empowered, is economically in control of his and her life, right? For any democracy to really function well, it's very important to have involved citizens, right? And for us as a family, entrepreneurship is the way you create, believe in India in terms of job creations, in terms of livelihood. An entrepreneur does not work for just themselves, right? They are creating jobs, they're creating value of wealth for a larger society. See, the reason any business exists is for social upliftment, is for the society to do well. A business is not working in a silo, right? So any company or organization that they think that, that's just for profits and just for existence, do not survive the test of time. Entrepreneurs have made India, right? My sister and I, Farhan and I, grew up in a daughter's household. We grew up as kids of immigrant parents, right? Our parents, both mom and dad's education and career took them around the world. And we both went around the world with them for with their careers.
Right.
And growing up as an immigrant kid, and then working as an immigrant professional, when I started working, gave me a perspective that anyone in India should not have to leave the country for lack of opportunity.
Correct.
If you choose to go out and do other things, that's fine. But you should never feel that your nation does not have enough opportunities for you to perform or to realize your potential. And every generation needs to have a healthy portfolio of entrepreneurs, which will get new ideas, which will get new services, products that are needed for the people of that nation, right? And I think in the last few years, in the last 5-6 years, my belief has got much more stronger that for India to be a superpower, for us to be counted among the top 4 in the world from an economic superpower, we need to have all Indians skilled, ready for the future, and employable and employed.
Well
and
said.
for that, we need to create jobs. That's why entrepreneurship is so very close to our heart. So when I was going to have my boys, my husband was working for a large company, and he comes and says, "I'm quitting because I want to start something of my own." I said the timing couldn't have been better than this. It's, as you know, as you say that when you feel when you feel you have to do it. So my husband is a blue blood entrepreneur, bootstrapped for the last few years, and I get very inspired looking at him struggle. Honestly, I think where he lands and how his organization does is a matter of lots of factors. But just seeing his journey as an entrepreneur over the last few years, the pain, the struggles, the failures, the ability to pick yourself up and just keep trying day in and day out, because you have this vision that you will create jobs for the future, you will create livelihood for the future, is a very inspiring and a very practical notion for our country.
Very fascinating. So Farzana, you now look at the work you've done, you're doing with the Tata Group, look at the work you're doing with entrepreneurs. Tell me, how do you manage time for your family, for all your social activities, for the networking that you keep doing? I mean, what kind of time pressures do you have and how do you manage them?
I'm trying to think what would network capital mean for us, right? I think for every individual, family, and I count my friends as a part of my family, right? Should always be priority. As I say, every business, every company's work, because they fulfill a societal norm and need, and to uplift the society, take it to the next level. Similarly, you as an individual need to nurture every relationship, and give it time. When I am with my kids, I'm only their amma. There is no other role I play at that time. When I'm with my parents, I am their daughter, and there's again no other role I play. So at a given point of time, there's only one role I play, and I give it all that I have. I don't take calls while I'm doing something. My personal time, I protect it with a zeal, because you have to be very cognizant of the fact that every day that you go out and work and you perform, it's your family and your team who are backing you. That's why you're performing on a global stage, right? And for all of them, my team, my family, friends, utmost respect and utmost gratitude I have. And I show it by small little things. I cook for them. I take time out for them. But for me, that is as important as performance of a KRA that your organization sets for you. The reason I request everyone who is hearing us to take time out for things that are important for you. Like having a conversation with you is important for me. Encouraging a lot of social entrepreneurs in India today is very close to my heart, because I believe that they will shape up the way India will be viewed globally. When I take out time for my colleagues, when I say not only work, take out time for doing mentoring, for peer level mentoring. The leaders for tomorrow are built today. And to do that, we need to invest in them.
Correct.
And that kind of investment is a lot of conscious time management, a lot of conscious of applying yourself to that. For me, that is as important as being known as a good leader who performed and he delivered these numbers.
Very interesting. So I have time for two more questions.
Yes.
My next question is that you're also, when I was reading about you, you talk about a global platform for building a global company. I'd like to understand your thoughts on what are you doing?
India has, I think, given global ink some of the best managers they have seen, some of the best CEOs, right? The kind of diligence, the kind of hard work, ethic, integrity, performance. At a certain level, performance is a given, right? That stage when you reach performance is a given. But the way they have nurtured cultures in these top 10, top 100 companies of the world, right? The culture they have created of innovation, inclusiveness, conscious inclusiveness, whether it's gender, faith, minorities, and the kind of cultures they have created, the kind of leaders they are creating for the future is very inspiring. So what is the only thing that is missing is creating those companies out of India. Given we have the infrastructure, the capital, I would love for when my boys grow up that their generation says, oh, we want to work for this company in India, right? And they move to India to work for that company. So that's one of my absolute dreams, that we create global companies based out of India. When I joined, we're a local champion, doing very well. Obviously, this brand is India, right? Tata's in India is very interchangeable. And I think my grandparents are very proud I joined. Because for them, you either become a civil servant or you join Tata's. That's the hierarchy of respect and honor. So, okay, you've not become an IS officer, it's okay, you've joined the Tatas. If you can create such brands, such global, genuinely global groups out of India, that would be an achievement for us as a generation, where we ensure that every company has policies and which encourage human potential, right? One is that which encourage communities and nationalities from around the world to come to India and work for those brands, which have correct and equal pay for both the genders, which have equal representation of women and men on the board and every level of leadership. I think that is when we will be writing our history and our future.
Very well said. In fact, I completely agree, because I've often said, till we get both 50% of our country contributing equally and getting equal returns for their work, we will always have an imbalance.
Always. So our policies will be written not with, you need to, if your product or services is being used by both men and women, right? Around the world, both men and women should shape the design of the product.
Correct.
Should be in a position of designing policies and procedures and processes that encourage both men and women to excel. So human potential is gender neutral.
Very true. Very true.
And I think we are holding our own mothership back by not allowing the daughters of India to just rise.
Absolutely. And I'm sure those opportunities are getting opened up, and I think that it'll be an amazing thing for the country.
Technology is changing a lot of that today.
Correct.
Ashutosh, technology is appending a lot of and disrupting a lot of way people were doing work. A lot of definition of where competition was. We had, I don't think 10 years back we thought Airbnb would take on hotels, or Ola would take on the Kali Pili in Bombay streets, right? But technology is really changing everything. Absolutely. And I think technology also democratizes opportunities. For me, that's a real passion. Correct. To see that women being equally represented in companies across all levels, and especially at management and at boards, because then is when real change will happen.
Very true. And Farzana, my last question to you is, what is your sense of pride?
I said that this morning, but I will repeat it. I said that technology is something I love. Physics, I'm a physics student. I love technology. I love physics. And I would want, and one of my biggest dreams is to see that all the big tech companies around the world, at least 50% of them are run by Indian women. Wonderful. I would love to see an Indian woman lots of Indian women as CEOs of these technology companies, because then they are changing the way they're writing codes and they're writing scripts. I don't know if a lot of people know the first coding was done by women in the world.
Really? Okay.
Yes, there were women who used to code because that was that time a low-paying job, and you could sit at home and do it. Once it became successful and people started doing it, the women just got out. So I would love for women to lead tech companies.
Wonderful.
Global tech companies.
Wonderful. Farzana, on that note, I want to say thank you. It's been such a privilege speaking to you. Thank you for taking me down your incredible journey. And as Ruth told you, you'll be an inspiration to many people. I'm sure you're already an inspiration, and over the years, you will be a huge inspiration to people.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Ashutosh. An absolute pleasure having this conversation.
Thank you again. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.